Have you ever noticed how easy it is to fall down a true crime rabbit hole? You start with one documentary or podcast episode, and suddenly you've spent hours listening to stories about murders, disappearances, and criminal investigations. Even though these topics are extremely disturbing, millions of people continue to watch and listen every day, including me. So, why are we drawn to something so dark? Today, I'm going to explain why humans are fascinated with true crime. Specifically, this fascination comes from three main factors: our natural psychological curiosity, our desire for control and safety, and the powerful influence of modern media. First, let's talk about psychological curiosity. As humans, we are naturally curious, especially about things that feel dangerous or unusual. True crime gives us a way to explore situations that we would never want to experience in real life. According to Pamela Rutledge, people are drawn to true crime because it helps them understand extreme human behavior and motivations. In other words, we want to know why people commit terrible acts. This curiosity is actually connected to survival. Our brains are wired to pay attention to threats. Learning about dangerous situations can help us recognize and avoid them. Research by Matthias Claassen suggests that humans are drawn to frightening stories because they allow us to experience fear in a controlled way while also learning from it. In addition, true crime lets us explore the minds of criminals. Many people find themselves asking questions like, what caused this person to act this way? Could this have been prevented? According to the University of Derby, people are especially interested in understanding the motives behind crimes because it helps them make sense of behavior that seems irrational or shocking. Even more interesting, studies show that people don't just want to know what happened, they want to understand the why of what happened. Research by Vicari and Fraley found that many individuals are deeply drawn to psychological aspects of crime, especially the reasoning behind the violent acts that are committed. So, overall, our fascination with true crime starts with curiosity, our desire to understand danger and human behavior. Now, let's move on to the second reason, our desire for control and safety. Even though true crime stories are often frightening, they can actually make people feel more prepared. When we hear about crimes, we start to learn patterns, warning signs, risky situations, and ways people protect themselves from those situations. Rutledge explains that this kind of information can increase awareness and help people feel more in control of their own safety. For example, after watching or listening in true crime, someone might become more cautious about their surroundings or more aware of who they trust. According to the University of Derby, this awareness can create a sense of empowerment rather than fear for this person. Another important factor is that true crime allows us to experience fear in a safe environment. We can listen to a scary story or watch a documentary, but we know that we are not actually in danger. Claassen explains that this safe fear can actually be enjoyable because it gives us an adrenaline rush without real consequences. This is something that I relate to personally. In fact, Vicari and Fraley found that this controlled exposure to fear can make people feel more prepared and less anxious about real-life dangers. So even though true crime deals with more serious and sometimes terrifying topics, it can actually make people feel more safer and more in control. Finally, let's look at this third reason, the influence of media. True crime has become more popular than ever, especially now, largely because of how easy it is to access. Streaming services and podcasts have made it possible to consume true crime content anytime, anywhere. Rutledge points out that this constant availability plays a major role in keeping audiences engaged. Think about how many true crime shows, documentaries, and podcasts are available today. There's a ton. With so many options, it's easy to keep watching or listening, and it's definitely able to keep us more invested. But it's not just availability, it's also how these stories are told. Media often presents true crime in a more dramatic and emotional way. According to the University of Derby, storytelling techniques like suspense, interviews, and detailed narratives make these stories more engaging and easier to connect with. Ray Sturt explains that media often turns real-life crimes into compelling narratives that feel almost like entertainment. This can blur the line between reality and storytelling. In addition, these stories are often structured like mysteries, which keeps audiences hooked. Again, I can relate to this. We want to know what happens next, who is responsible, and how the case is solved. Surratt also notes that these storytelling techniques make true crime more emotionally engaging and memorable. So, media doesn't just share true crime stories, it shapes how we experience them, making them more dramatic, more accessible, and more addictive. Now, to bring everything together, humans are fascinated with true crime because of three main reasons: our natural curiosity about danger and human behavior, our desire to feel safe and in control, and the powerful way media presents these stories. True crime may seem just like entertainment, but it actually reflects something deeper about human nature. It shows our need to understand the world around us, even the darkest parts of it. So the next time you find yourself watching a true crime documentary or listening to a true crime podcast, ask yourself one question. Are you being entertained, or are you trying to understand something about human nature? Because in the end, true crime isn't just about crime. It's about curiosity, fear, and the way we make sense of the world. I personally relate to this extensively because I'm a big true crime fan and I am so interested in all the aspects of true crime. So I totally understand all the research behind this and why people are so interested in true crime. Thank you.